What's up guys, today I'm going to be talking about Peacemaker 2. And today I think I'm going to mainly be talking about the finale because I think that's what I have the most thoughts on. But first I kinda want to talk about my thoughts on Season 1. I honestly think Peacemaker Season 1 is a very solid 7 out of 10 show. It has great characters and great action set pieces. The show doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything, but it's just fun and entertaining and heartfelt. It takes a character that I did not like from the Suicide Squad and actually makes me like him. The show is mainly a character study on Peacemaker. And the show really just provides situations so you can dive deeper into the character, which I love. In any piece of media, I love when the villain is tied to the character, and the Butterflies was just done in like a magnificent way. It really showcased the true flaws of Peacemaker's ideology. You know, the ideology of killing men, women, and children in pursuit of peace. So that's not really a great ideology. Oh, and he also fights his dad in the show, which really is just an average Twitter user, am I right? Okay, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. That's a joke, okay? I'm joking. His dad's way worse than the Twitter user. Don't come after me, please. But basically, by the end of Season 1, he ends up finding a new family. His friends. So yeah, not the most like original plot ever, but it was nice. It was just fun, you know? It was a nice, just average feel-good show. Okay, well, I guess it wasn't really feel-good. It was feel-good if you take away all the killing. Maybe. And Peacemaker killing his dad. It wasn't a very good feel-good show, but it had some moments that make you feel good. There's one thing I remember about Season 1 though, is I initially found the jokes funny, but the jokes always went on for like 20 seconds too long. And looking back on Season 2, that didn't happen as often as I remember it happening in Season 1. Okay, so first when I talk about Season 2, I think I'm going to talk about it more episode by episode, then the finale, and then I'm just going to talk about the whole thing overall. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about Season 2, Episode 1, The Ties That Grind. And honestly, I think this is a very good first episode of the season, because normally with like a first episode of a new season, it feels like a lot of stuff is crammed in. But this feels actually very natural. And by the end of Episode 1, I felt all caught up on what I had missed the characters doing. And it introduced their new problems in like a very clear light, which I liked. And I felt like it built off a lot of the character stuff from the first season. Maybe this is for just the TV shows I watch, but a lot of the times when there's a new season, it feels like the writers kind of have to rework the characters in a way to make them have a new problem. But in Season 2, it feels like the problems that they're having this season are problems they already had in Season 1, but are just being highlighted more. Which honestly, I really like, because it still feels like we're watching the same characters. Episode 2 is also just another very solid episode. I really liked the bird blindness joke, and I've seen other people really like it. I thought it was pretty funny. Okay, now here's the problem. Episode 3 and 4 just like blend together in my mind for some weird reason. And I think it's because, to me at least, Episode 4 is a lot of filler, I feel like. I did really like the moments though in Episode 3 in the alternate universe. But chat, Episode 5, James Gunn cooks, you know, it's really good. When Peacemaker was getting beaten up, I felt so bad for him, and the whole situation felt hopeless. Because Rick Flag Sr. doesn't understand that Peacemaker has changed, or he doesn't care, just because he's so blinded by rage. And also, by the way, I thought making him and Harcourt have like a connection through Rick Flag Jr. was just such a great move. And also, Harcourt and Rick Flag Jr. were like a thing, which I think is really cool. Like, it's really clever. And it explains why he really can't get super close to Chris, because, you know, Chris murdered Rick Flag Jr. Did anyone else get like the vibe at the end of Episode 5 that it felt like it was supposed to represent Chris killing himself? Oh boy, YouTube is going to hate me for saying that. But I honestly think it's really well done. Like, I was so sad at the end of Episode 5. Vigilante cried, chat. When Vigilante cries, you know times are serious. And Chris left the helmet for them because he wanted everyone to be happy, and oh, it's such a good ending. But in episode 6, they decide that they will not be taking the helmet to Argus. And they're just like, you know what, we're going to save Peacemaker. So it's like, yay. And episode 6 is appropriately titled Ignorance is Chris. Because let's just say Chris has a lot of ignorance in this episode. He completely missed that there are no people of color in this universe. And it's the universe where the Nazis won. So basically everyone's a Nazi. He even missed a giant Hitler mural on the wall, which is just insane. And I just want to say, the ending to this episode, also very well done. But I was so worried for Economos. I thought he was going to be dead. Goodness he wasn't. And in episode 7, Bald Boy comes back. We got Lex Luthor, baby. Sir Bald-headed bald person. What are some names that you can call bald people? We have been lacking with names on what to call bald people. But kids, just remember, the only bald person you can make fun of is Lex Luthor. Please don't go out into the street making fun of bald people. That's not nice. And plus, some bald people are chill. I don't want to say all, but like, they're mostly chill. Anyway, I got sidetracked talking about bald people. What was I talking about? Oh, Lex Luthor shows up in this, which I honestly liked his cameo because it felt earned, which is something Marvel hasn't been doing lately. And also, his cameo actually felt integral to the story. Integral. I cannot say that word, chat. But Vigilante, being the goofy goober he is, ends up killing Peacemaker's dad, and they almost end up killing his brother. And I think he's going to come back in season 3. Well, James Gunn says there might not be a season 3, which I think is disappointing. But somewhere, I'm guessing Peacemaker's brother is going to, like, seek revenge. Anyway, now I'm going to give a very controversial opinion. I liked the 8th episode. Right now, it has a 6.767. Sorry, I hate myself, on IMDb. And quite frankly, I do not think it deserves that. Now, personally, I don't think it's some, like, perfect god tier level episode, but I think it's at least, like, a 7.5. The only, like, major issue I had with it was the pacing. And I think that's mainly because of, like, the basically music videos. I honestly just think if the songs only went on for, like, 2 to 3 minutes, because I think they went on for, like, 5, people would have less of a problem with it. But I get why they would have, like, songs there, was to show the emotional impact. I just think they shouldn't have, like, actually showed the bands for as long as they did. Because I'm pretty sure they played, like, each song for, like, 5 minutes, and that was a bit insane. And also, some of the problems I had with season 1 came back, like the jokes going on for just a bit too long. But I really liked how the final episode wasn't just cameos and a CGI mess. It actually had some meat on its bone, you know? It had heart, which is what I liked so much about the first season. And just like the first season, Peacemaker Season 2 doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything, but I think it does actually showcase change in the superhero genre. Because I feel like most superhero TV shows just end with a giant fight. So I thought that was very nice just to have an emotional conclusion. So in conclusion, I would give Peacemaker Season 2 an 8 out of 10. I just think the major flaw with it was the pacing. It felt like this could have been like a 3.5 hour movie, to be honest. And I also think it would have helped if they like released it all at one time. The weekly episode format just did not fit here. It's the same for Creature Commandos. That was weekly as well. They need to know when to go weekly and when not to. In the end, I hope they get Chris back. I wish they saved like the kidnapping Chris for the post-credit scene, because I feel like that would have just fit it better. It was a bit jarring going from like super happy to such a sad ending. But overall, I think Rick Flag Sr. is a very well set up villain. If you watch all the projects with him in it, you really see his overall arc. But a complaint I've had with this season is I think the editing was a bit weird at some points. I remember thinking episode 4's editing was just abysmal. I think episode 4 might be my least favorite episode. But honestly, I really liked Peacemaker's and Harcourt's overall character arcs. I thought those two were definitely the strongest. But anyway, I thought the season was decently well done. 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you next time. I'll upload a video in 2028. That'll be my next video.